All right. So we're live. It's Monday night, and this is WriterSanctuary's After Hours. Tonight I'm being joined with Maddi Bluhme. Is that how you say your last name?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Wasn't quite sure. So I was going to ask before the show started, and I completely forgot until I was like introducing you. I'm like,
You're
oh,
good.
what a butcher her name. Okay. And your newest book came out last week, and it
hmm
is This Cruel Fate. And it's part of a
Yes.
series. What prompted you to put a
Yeah.
series together? Because I know a lot of authors who prefer solitary stories over doing a series at the very beginning. And I was just curious as to what drove you to
Mhm.
start a series, start with, like I
Yeah.
did. I started with the Witchem Chronicles, so, but I know what drove
Yeah.
me.
Um, I think really what prompted me to start it as a series rather than a standalone is just since like the arc that I want to explore for Zolia, the main character, is pretty vast, and I just feel like I needed a lot of time to make it believable,
Mhm.
and make her choices from how she gets from point A to point B to point C like feel earned and realistic, and yeah, um, to just really explore everything that I wanted to explore.
And it's way more than a single book would do.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's kind of how I felt with Kingmaker.
or
I'm
it
like,
would have been a chunky book if it was
yeah.
one, but yeah.
Well, that's why when I started Kingmaker, I was like, if it was going to be a standalone at first, but then I got about, I'd say halfway through it, I'm like, nah,
Mhm.
this is going to be bigger.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah,
um,
and it changed a lot from early drafts to where it is now that I think definitely influenced it being more than just a standalone. So it's like, well, I've changed so much and we're going in different directions and it's just not gonna fit in one.
yeah, well, I know that. Um,
Yeah.
it sounds like when I read it, because I read the description on Amazon, it sounds a bit like a dystopian future. Is there anything that inspired you to write this Cruel Fate with that kind of a
Yeah.
mindset?
Yeah. So it's really heavily inspired by like the 2010s YA dystopia boom with like Hunger Games and Divergent. And then just other like chosen one stories like Percy Jackson. That was really huge. And I was a perfect demographic to read those stories when they came out. And I know they have to like end happily, and of course it's centered around children because it's for children. But even then, and as I've grown older, I just can't get the idea out of my head of like, okay, you saved the world, you were the most important person, like everyone relied on you, even adults. But now it's over, so you just have to be normal now. And I just
It doesn't always work that way.
people like yeah, like when you're told something over and over you tend to believe it even if you try not to. So I was really inspired by just like the cyclical nature of power, where if you're given all of this importance and everyone's telling you how special you are and how amazing you are, even if it's with good intentions, and you do have to like fight off something truly evil, like that's going to leave you with psychological damage. And that's my story starts at like the final battle, where they fought off the man and now they're happily ever after. And then it just starts 7 years after that.
Cool. Yeah, can you tell us a little bit about the Scroll Fate, a little bit more than that, without giving too many
Yeah,
spoilers away?
yeah, for
Because
sure.
I've read
So it follows,
the first of it, so
oh yeah, it follows Zolia, and she, um, so herself or her and her group of people, they're called variants, and they can use elemental magic. And essentially they were just kind of used as a forced military by the human government for about 2000 years up until that point. So she and her mentor and their group of like rebels fought against the human government, and then they won.
mhm.
And so 7 years later her mentor had tried to betray, um, her and then the other humans that were working with them. So she still has to grapple with the fact that her father figure lied to her. And even with years in between, there's still a lot of prejudices and a lot of hurdles that variants have to overcome. And where she's at in her life, she's not getting any recognition for the work she's doing, or like really feeling that adrenaline rush, or all those things that were happening when she was younger. So she starts to make more choices to kind of relive that feeling and relive that sense of importance, and it starts her down this very slippery slope of doing what's right and doing what feels right for her.
Yeah. So Neo just said, when you get a chance, check out her video on 10,000 in a day, which I did write or I did watch, and I do have a question about it. And then she
Oh
shared the
yeah.
link to your video. Neo's awesome. Um, so and if anybody's listening or watching, and it does sound interesting to you, I do have a link to This Girl Fate on Amazon in the description down below. Let's see. Okay, so you have a BFA in creative writing, which is a Bachelor of Fine Arts.
Hmm.
How much
Yeah.
of an impact do you think it made on you in terms of structuring your story? Not necessarily being able to write a good tale, but the actual overall
Right.
structure of it.
I think it definitely helped. My degree program was a lot more focused on script writing than prose writing. We had a lot more courses on script writing. Um, and so I think it definitely helped me not overwrite and to very much quickly identify what matters and stick with what's driving the story forward or what's exploring character, because in a script it's very, very strict. Like you have no wiggle room in terms of structure
Mm.
and pacing. So I think it definitely helped, yeah, with deciding this is working, this isn't working, or this is just like extra fluff that doesn't need to be in there. Like I'm definitely an underwriter, and then as I go through drafts, I have to
And
add some more
stuff.
context in,
Yeah.
and yeah. But yeah, so I definitely think it helped to not meander, if that
Yeah.
makes sense. Like
Oh
I,
no, yeah, it makes sense to
yeah.
me. I'm the same way. I will like the first draft of Shadows of Atlantic City was my next book. Was I was aiming for
Mhm.
75,000 words because I knew that I was going to add about 15 to 20,000 worth of detail afterwards.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
wanted to get the story out.
Yeah.
So yeah, I hear you on that one. So you did a lot of script writing for like screenplay.
Yeah. For movies, um, TV shows, and then we did a little bit with like commercial writing and stuff like that.
Do you think
So yeah,
doing that? Do you write cinematically then, or do you not incorporate any of that?
I I definitely picture what I'm writing as a movie. Uh, and I think I have picked up like cinematic tips, especially with dialogue and things like that.
Mm.
But I don't necessarily like approach it as
Like you're making a
mm,
movie?
right. Yeah.
Well, that's still kind of cool.
Yeah.
Um, what kinds of okay? Well, real quick, Marissa asks, "Where is your BFA from?" Just curious because I have a BFA in creative writing, and I feel like I don't meet many authors who do.
Yeah. I got it from Full Sail University,
Full
which is
Sail.
in Florida, but I did online. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, because I started at Ames here in Greeley and then I transferred.
Yeah. Was Full Sail a good school?
I mean,
Wow,
would
that
I
says a lot.
would I go to Full Sail again? Probably not. I'm on the fence about getting my master's because I miss school, but I know academia is just a hot mess. So I would prefer to go to like CSU or something like that for my master's, but I mean, I'm thankful for. I went during COVID, so that it helped to go online and things like that to not be like heavily impacted. But yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it was fine.
All right. Neil says, "I love the term cross-genre author. I love doing that too. Like my latest book is a dark western. Um,
I
I
love that.
I like I love my primary is dark fantasy, but um,
Yeah,
my brother-in-law wanted me to try westerns, so I did, and I enjoyed it. So
yeah,
it's not quite western. I mean, well, it is, but
yeah.
yeah. Well, anyway, um, she Marissa she declines to answer. Ha ha ha. Um, let's see. What Max needs to do something else. Where was I? Oh, I was gonna ask what kinds of things do combat writer's block if you have it. Um, like I know it kind of leads into my next question, which is according to one of your YouTube videos that you seem to be more of a pantser. That was the 10,000 word video. Um,
Yeah.
how often do you struggle with like a story not quite getting there fast enough, or do you like
hmm
get stuck on a spot where it's like I don't know where else to go?
Yeah. With this Cruel Fate, since this was my first novel, I definitely struggled with writer's block a lot. And I think that is one of the reasons why it took me so long to write, and I rewrote it multiple times. And at the time, I would just take a step back and try to find other things to like fill my cup, and watch movies, read books that like there or listen to music. Like I try to get inspiration from any place I can, or just like take a note of what the sky looks like right now, or something that makes me happy, and just like putting it all in and just kind of letting it percolate to come
Yeah.
back to it. Now, since I would like to speed up my writing process a little bit to not publish once every like 5 years, I'm working on two separate works in progresses, and so if I'm like running into a wall with one, I can kind of switch gears and go on to another one. And I've every time I have a thought about one of my stories, it just goes into the notes app on my phone, so I can just like try and pull from that.
Mhm.
And I think it was Stephen King said something that I really like, where it's like you just have to kind of push through it. And that's something that I really did a lot with the 10,000 words, because I was not feeling very inspired. But it's like I'm going to sit down wherever I am and I'm going to put one word in front of the other until something starts to snowball and the momentum picks up.
Well, cool. Yeah, I write out of order. Have you ever tried that?
Yeah, I'm doing that now with my discovery draft for what I was working on in that video. Just yeah, finding where I have the inspiration and those like themes that to me I'm like, this is what makes the book. So I'm just gonna write those while I have them, and then I can kind of
Connect the
stitch
dots.
it together from
Yeah.
there. Yeah,
That's what with Kingmaker. I wrote the ending before I even finished chapter one because I knew how it was going to
yeah,
end. Now I did have to change a few things because of what happens in the story, but I
yeah,
knew the premise that I wanted to end on. So,
yeah.
um, okay. Are you? Thought I read somewhere that you're a bit of a gamer,
Tiny bit.
a tiny bit. I was gonna,
I yeah.
I was gonna ask if like
I like.
Fallout inspired you.
I actually have never played Fallout, but I did
Oh,
watch the show and I
like,
really loved it. um,
they did a good job
no,
on that.
my he did. Yeah, I mean, I haven't played the games, but just as like from a story and visual perspective, I was hooked. Um, I when it comes to video games, I'm not that great, and I hate losing, so I have to stick with like Mario Kart,
Minecraft.
Stardew Valley. I do really like Fortnite, so those are my that's my speed of
Yeah.
video game.
I was just wondering if they
Anything that gets too difficult.
Yeah, I was just curious as to if you had anything that influenced because um, your book is kind of dystopian, and I'm like that'd be perfect for like
hmm
Fallout.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a question I had. Um, okay, so I have to take. Neil says I have to take a break, but I am 5 classes away from getting my master's. Southern New Hampshire. It is also online. Everybody
That's so
takes online.
exciting. Yeah.
Neo asks, "Is this Cruel Fate part of a trilogy or a separate project?" It's part. It is a series, but how many books are you planning on writing in it?
This will be 3, um, for sure. Going with the idea of like a fourth that isn't directly connected or following Zolia, but it really depends how these next 2 books go. Because I am fairly certain I know the ending. Um, we'll see. I have like 2 endings in mind, and we'll just kind of see what feels right and for the story and her character arc, and that
Yeah,
will kind of influence if there's anything more or not. But 3 for sure.
yeah, cool. There you go. Katie C says hello. Hello, how's it going, Katie C? Sam says hello. Um, oh, God, cat. Let's see, Neo. Another question. Neo is like all kinds of questioning. Whether on your channel or just because, do you plan on doing more writing challenges? Do you do any of this? Did you do any of? All right, let me try that again one more time. Did you do any for this cruel fate? There we go. Writing challenges.
Yes, I do like writing challenges because I feel like it forces me to keep working even when I'm not inspired.
Mhm.
Um, I'll definitely do more, especially with writing a discovery draft. I think it's helpful for me to focus more on word count than quality of the words because I just have to get the story. I much prefer to edit and
Mhm.
rewrite and go from there to really make it something I'm happy with. And I had tried to write 10,000 words in a day like last year and I failed, but that was for the school fate. And then I also did where I wrote 2 hours every day, for like for a week. And that was also for this cool fate. And that one was a lot of fun because at that point I was more rewriting and editing. So the time worked a bit better because if I just needed to sit and stare for
Yeah,
15 minutes, it was still writing and in my time frame.
yeah.
Yeah, I
Well,
really like
that's
writing stuff.
that's why I do the writing sprints on the channel at 10:30 Monday through
Yeah,
Friday, and um, they help me a lot because I do a 2 hour. They're 25 minutes a piece, but I do it for 2 hours, and so it's 4 rounds. And by
yeah,
then, I write anywhere from 2,000 to 2,500 words, and
yeah,
it's just yeah. When you hit that block of time, like right now, I'm not necessarily writing during the sprints, but I'm doing the editing for it, so I'm still being productive,
yeah,
which is the point. So,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, the 2 hours a day is anyway.
Yeah, that one was a little rough. And at the time, I was working at PetSmart as a dog groomer, so it was like very
Yeah,
physically demanding day. And then going home and just like, okay, we're just gonna keep plugging along. But yeah, I think it definitely helps. Kind of if you're hitting writer's block, it definitely helps you like push through because you have to
yeah.
keep working and yeah,
Welcome. Marissa says 10,000 in a day is literally insane. Um, I was well back when I was a freelance writer. I was working for Dex Broker. My goal was hitting 10,000 a day. I only did that a handful of times, but on
yeah,
average, I was going anywhere from 6 to 8. But as also that was
yeah,
my full time job. So,
right. Yeah, with the
oh yeah,
10,000, I didn't write the day before and I took the time to plan out the themes that I wanted to write and that I really wanted to focus on. And then I didn't write like the next 2 days after.
yeah.
It's just like so much of your brain power is going to this one thing and then yeah, need to fill out the creative well again after that.
Yeah. Neil's sharing all of your videos here, writing 5,000 words in a day. That one I didn't get a chance to watch.
That
And
that one's pretty old.
Then you have one that's writing 2 hours every day.
Yeah.
And Sam's asks, I might have missed it, but what kind of timeline are you giving yourself to finish the trilogy?
Ideally, I'm writing my current work in progress is for a different project just because This Cruel Fate was a little difficult to write an unreliable narrator who feels that she is fully justified in her actions, but without the narrative like condoning her actions, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
So like I need to write something a little bit less like layered.
Mm.
Um, but ideally, I would like to get the next two books out within the next like 2.5 years. Um, and have like a pretty always working on something, getting books out, and
Yeah.
having something else in the works. And yeah,
Yep. With my series, I didn't necessarily take a break. What it was is that I published Keymaker, and then
mm-hmm.
I took the Reedsy Master Class, and for that is when I wrote Shadows. And
Yeah,
so that wasn't related to my series at all. But I've already got to the point where I'm only 20,000 away from finishing book two. Uh,
yeah,
I would love to get them out every 6 months, but I've got so much on my plate. So,
yeah, yeah. I think right now I'm like, if I can get out once a year, that's good. And if I can get it to 9 months per book, I mean that would be like my ideal time. But yeah, it's hard writing this. I feel like I learned so much more just through writing my first novel than about like the process and what it takes to actually write a full length novel, edit it, get it to a point where, okay, like maybe people will enjoy this. Was a lot different than I had like initially anticipated. And
oh yeah,
yeah,
like anybody who's watching who hasn't published their first book yet, you're going to learn a lot, especially if
yeah,
you're an indie writer, an indie publisher. There's
yeah,
yeah, it's going
yeah.
to
I
be a
feel like there's even just from this week, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do this differently the next one, do this differently, do this, yeah. So it's a constant readjusting and just moving forward, and
yeah.
yeah.
Studio 1209 Group says, hi everyone. Question: what writing software are you using?
I like Scrivener, and I will kind of go between Google Docs and Word for like critique partners and getting feedback, or if I'm not on my desktop and I'm writing outside of the house, I'll use either my laptop or I have the Free Write Traveler, which is like just writing, just like your screen and a keyboard, and that goes to Google Docs. But yeah, I keep everything in Scrivener. I just find it really helpful because you can have all of your chapters broken down by scenes, your plot, your characters, setting, and then you can just pull it up on like the double screen. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I was gonna say, what's your favorite function of Scrivener? Mine's the split screen.
yeah, I think that's mine as well. And I will rewrite scenes. I like have yeah, you can just see the old one, see the new one, and yeah, I really enjoy Scrivener.
Yeah. Well, I bought it. There is definitely a learning curve to it, but
Yeah, there is.
that's only because it can do everything. I mean,
Yeah, I can.
it's insane how much Scrivener can handle for. I think what was it, like $50 for the
Yeah,
one
like
time?
50 or
60?
60.
Yeah,
Yeah, something like that.
it's
In the
robust for
grand
being
scheme
it.
of things, more affordable because I think even Word, I think I'm paying like $60 a year for. So 60 for a lifetime, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
But
And
yeah,
you
I
and you also get free upgrades until it
mhm,
does its next two versions. I can't
yeah,
remember, but it's
I think
like
so.
it's insane their support. So,
Yeah,
have you ever thought about what do you use for formatting? Do you still use
I
Word
use
for
I
formatting?
use Vellum.
Ah, you have an Apple.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I have. I very much am part of
Uh,
the Apple. But yeah, I use
Fangirl.
Vellum for formatting. Yeah. Well, it's just so easy to like share files between all of your devices, and it was really helpful for school. But yeah, I have sold my soul to Apple. So yeah.
Yep. I will never own an Apple product. I've always wanted to try Vellum though. From the looks of it, it looks pretty good. I use
I
Atticus,
like it.
so
Yeah, I was between Vellum and Atticus. Um, but yeah, I went with Vellum. It just looked a little more user friendly for how I use things. So yeah, in my opinion, it just looked like I could understand it a little bit better. Uh, and it's worked
yeah.
really well so far, and it's really easy to edit.
Well, that's my that's one of my biggest things I try to push is that the best software is the one that's going to be best for you.
Yeah, for
So,
sure.
writing is harder than being a musician. I don't know. I've never been a musician.
I don't know.
Writing is second nature to me, though. Like I have so many stories. I could just sit down and crank it out. I don't think I've ever actually had writer's block.
I definitely think
um,
it's like, I think even with being a musician or any art, even though it is, I don't know, I think art is just as much a skill as like learning to play a sport or
mm,
learning to be a mechanic. It just takes time. And
practice.
as you learn and grow in your skill, it gets easier, or you learn, yeah,
Yeah.
it's a skill just like anything else.
I said that in a blog post like really recently too, almost verbatim.
I'm a big fan of the movie Ratatouille because
Mhm.
anyone can cook, but not anyone can cook. It's like you just have to work for it. And yeah,
You just don't have a rat pulling your hair to type.
exactly. Yeah.
Um, Neil, I was going to wait for this to be the last question of the night, but I guess I'll ask it now. What are your thoughts on promoting on TikTok?
I've just started posting on TikTok. I Right now I'm just kind of tired of Instagram because I feel like you can read whatever hacks or like this content strategy will help you
Mm,
grow. And I've met a lot of amazing people that I love talking to on Instagram. So I love Instagram for that reason. Like I'm always yapping in the DMs with like other writers and readers and things
mm.
like that. But Instagram, I to grow. I don't really see that. So TikTok, I'm kind of turning more toward. Um,
Huh? I think
there is a learning curve. Yeah.
you're the first positive person that said anything about TikTok. Everybody's
I watch a
avoiding
lot
it.
more TikTok than I watch like Instagram Reels.
Well, except for one person, I'm not going to throw him under the bus, but he knows who he is. His tactics for selling books on TikTok, I think it's funny. I'll have to.
Yeah.
I'll send you a DM.
I yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm learning, but I think their uh reach is a lot better even if you don't have a big following.
Hmm,
They're pushing your content out more than Instagram is. Just because Instagram is like, if you're not getting immediate likes, comments, shares, saves, that they're not pushing you at all.
yeah.
So I think TikTok definitely has a better initial reach. Um, and Instagram, I also hate that Instagram Reels can only be 90 seconds long, um, because it's just, if I want to talk, it's sometimes hard to like stay in that time frame. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Let's see. I have to buy the book. You have my sister's name as one of the characters spelled differently. Adonis.
Oh yeah.
Cool. Siri says, I still use it from time to time, and I also used Mac Journal for quick blog uploads. Sure what that is, because I don't have a Mac.
Uh,
Do you have any importing issues into like Vellum and stuff?
I haven't so far. It's pretty easy. Once you have the file, you just have to hit generate and then you select. They have EPUB, PDF, uh, and a few others if you're not uploading to Kindle, but I've just done the EPUB and PDF so far for print. And I decided to do Kindle Unlimited. You can't do wide ebook distribution, unfortunately, but it's worked really well so far. Yeah, it's only my first book, but
Mm, cool. Yeah, the only importing issues I have with Atticus is that they said that it supports EPUBs. It doesn't. Well,
mhm,
it does, but it
yeah,
works like crap, and they've been aware of it for like 8 months now, and they still haven't fixed it. So I have to
yeah,
export as a PDF, and Atticus does well with PDFs. It just doesn't
yeah,
do EPUBs at all, which is kind of disappointing.
yeah.
Um,
Especially with how like prevalent EPUB is now with like KDP and
mm. KDC says, Michael, the new Apple phone coming out is supposed to be revolutionary. Yep. They said that before. Don't get me started. He's trying to goad me into going on a rant, so I'm going to ignore him this time.
you
Neil's
know, I'm at the point where Apple could just release the same thing, and I'm like, I'm good with it. Like, I don't want revolutionary. I just want it to work how
right.
I know it's going to work.
Yep. I'm from a generation where shit just worked and now it doesn't. So
Yeah.
let's see. Neil says I found her TikTok, so I had to ask. Okay. So would you say that you are better with threads instead of Instagram? I'm assuming that's what you meant. Because
Uh,
I noticed that I see more of your stuff on threads than I do on Instagram.
yeah, which is crazy because I feel like I'm more active on Instagram. Um, and disappointing because I try so hard at Instagram. But yeah, I feel like Threads is also a lot easier for reach. Like even people I don't follow, but I will see them popping up on my feed over and over again. And I don't know if that's just because there's less Threads users. So once the algorithm kind of learns your niche, it just is like, oh, here you go, here you go. Um, and at this point with marketing, I'm just kind of at the point where it's like, I wish I would have started sooner
Mhm.
with my book. So I'm like, now I'm just gonna go full steam ahead, and I'm just gonna be like on it, you know. And if one person sees the post and like learns about my book, then like I did it, my job. But I just have to be active then and keep pushing and pushing, and
Yeah.
you know. But yeah,
So what do you think would be your strongest social impact for um, getting your book out there? Would that be see? Because I've seen it on
so
Threads. I've seen you on Instagram, but it's far
yeah,
more active on Threads. But I don't ever
yeah,
use TikTok. So I have a
that's fair.
TikTok account. I haven't made a single video.
Yeah, I honestly I'm not sure. I have like a few. If I look at my analytics, I'll look at saves more. I feel like those will translate more to sales more than to the like. So between like saves and stuff, I feel like so far TikTok and Instagram are kind of matched.
Mm,
Um, but yeah, I think so far just like word
mm,
of mouth and I don't know about my YouTube channel. I mean, I haven't posted in a little bit, but
yeah.
I mean, I feel like my YouTube channel, since it's so much more geared towards my writing journey, I'll have a lot more like success with that than initially on like TikTok and Instagram.
Yeah. Well, I can say for a fact that my YouTube channel has made the biggest impact on not just book sales, but recognizability. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. But yeah, the
No,
YouTube channel has
I really
been
love YouTube.
yeah, it's been the biggest driver for me. I
Yeah,
love teaching people about freelancing, blogging, and self-publishing, and it's just
yeah,
been fun. And most of my sales from the first two books I sold came from YouTube and
yeah.
Facebook, oddly enough.
I don't use Facebook at all,
I
but
well, my family's on Facebook, so I have
that's
almost
fair.
everything I have though, and like I don't use it. Everything I have is auto post. So like I use Buffer,
Mm,
and so I will automatically post stuff to Facebook and just
yeah,
kind of ignore it.
that's fair.
So I don't know what's going on
Yeah,
Facebook.
I well, when I decided to delete, I just deleted the app because, Meta is like everything is connected or whatever. But when I decided, I was like, okay, I'm done with Facebook. It was because I could not stand to see another AI generated post of like
Uh,
Jesus in the sand and all 58,000 bot comments going, amen, amen. I'm like, I can't, this, like, there's no real people. It's just bots. So I was like, I can't do this anymore. So, and that's why I do really love Instagram for that reason, because I feel like even if my reach isn't as good, I love the community
mm.
that I have there. And yeah, like I've just met so many amazing writers, authors, and readers, and that I've just had like good conversations with. And so I really love that aspect of
Yep, I've been trying to get more active on Instagram. I just don't know what to post. I live a very boring life. No one wants to see that.
it.
Um, Studio says that was me, Michael. I signed up with TikTok and did nothing but scroll for hours. I didn't scroll. I
Yeah.
started my account and it's just been sitting there. I'm like, okay, well, I made one. Now
Once
what?
once the algorithm like learns you, it's a definitely a time suck. So I recently, because I'm as much as I love social media, I'm trying to not just like passively spend time on social media. So I set a 2 hour time limit for TikTok, Threads, and Instagram Monday through Friday. And it's been rough,
Nice.
but I think good, healthier.
Neo says, I want a cup like that too. I didn't see her cup. What cup is she talking about?
Oh, I have the water bottle.
Yeah. Is that what you're talking about? Her water bottle? Is that a bunch of insects on it?
A bunch of bees
Oh,
and like
bees.
flowers and
Ah.
stuff like that. Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Katie C, a girl who doesn't have Facebook, she's a keeper. You have a woman. Let's see. Do you have any favorite authors, and have they inspired your writing in any way? Like personally, Stephen King played a huge role in why I wanted to become a writer in the first place, and his ability
Mm-hmm.
to write to where anybody can read it. You don't
Mm-hmm.
need a thesaurus to read Stephen King, and I love that aspect that he writes where everybody can enjoy it, and that's kind of inspired me in
Yeah.
how I write. Do you have any of those?
I have a Lord of the Rings tattoo. Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit were definitely like my intro to fantasy and just falling in love with reading in general. So I love Tolkien, and just the scope of world building. Like I am not a linguist, so I could never go as far as he does, but just being inspired by that, like attention to detail and care for something, I think something that is I feel like I struggle with um is like just like not wanting to I don't want people to think I'm like cringe, but it's like that's the price you pay to make art and learn how to make really incredible art. So just kind of being like, if you can wholly passionately like love what you're doing, then who cares if someone thinks you're cringe or not? So I really love Tolkien and was really inspired by him and like B.F. Lewis. I think my favorite author, though, is I love The Great Gatsby and F. Scott Fitzgerald. He's a problematic fave. Um, but just, yeah, I love The Great Gatsby. I think that's like my favorite novel ever. Uh, and I really love ML Rio with If We Were Villain, just the way she wrote the characters and just that immediate immersion into the story. Um, so yeah, I don't know. I have a lot of like favorites for different reasons and
Yeah,
people that have inspired me. And yeah,
that's good. I'm a big fan of Jules Verne. I love classics. So Jules Verne,
yeah,
H.G. Wells, The Time Machine was my favorite book for the longest time until I read The Stand by Stephen King. Then
yeah,
that took over.
yeah, that's fair.
But The Time Machine, I loved um, Captain's Courageous. Um, Treasure Island was a big one for me when I was in like fourth grade. Oh,
Yeah,
I just love awesome memories. Anyway,
Yeah.
Neil says, I have a Lord of the Rings ring. You win with the tattoo. Um,
Yeah, it was my birthday present to myself when I turned 18. So.
there you go. Let's see. This Cruel Fate, is that based in, is that a fantasy world or is that in like a dystopian
Yeah.
Earth?
It's a dystopian fantasy uh, with it's pretty similarly to Earth because I really wanted to focus more on the nature of power and
Mhm.
how power is like transferred or taken or coveted, anything like that. So I wanted the world itself to be pretty accessible and not getting lost in like learning this term and learning this. So I kept things very similar to like a one-to-one to our present day Earth. Just so that aspect of the story was very easily digestible and accessible. So when I'm like exploring the other parts of it, you have like the mental bandwidth to understand and get into it.
Okay, the reason why I asked that one is because I wanted to lead into Tolkien's thing about having a map. Do you have a map?
Oh, I do not have a
I don't
map.
either. I don't either. After I finished Kingmaker and I'm like almost all the way through Fury, I'm thinking to myself, he
Yeah,
was right. A map would have
right.
made things so much easier.
Yeah, I have like I forget what site I used to where it just like makes a map that looks like a picture on like Google Maps or something
Mm.
for like the shape of the country, so I can be like north, south, east, have like a general idea. But as far as specific locations, we are just hoping and praying it made sense. Like,
That's like I could. One of my beta readers pointed out something about about horse travel in Kingmaker, and so I spent 3 days proving him wrong because I researched how far a horse can travel in a single day because I
yeah,
had to have them all meet up at a certain point at a exact time from different
oh
angles,
yeah,
and so that was a lot of fun. But
yeah,
having a map, oh god, that would have made things so much easier. And
yeah,
I learned my lesson. I started using Incarnate. Um, it's a free map maker, and you can pay for the premium service, like $25 a year. But
oh, it's not bad.
it works great. Like I was able to export the map and import it into Readsy, how it would appear in the
Okay,
book. So I'm like, wow, that
yeah,
looks nice, actually. So yeah, maps definitely bonus.
yeah, they are for sure.
So yeah,
Yeah,
Tolkien was right.
for sure.
Kitty C says the Great Gatsby movie with Leonardo DiCaprio was phenomenal. I've never seen it.
I
Um,
actually really enjoyed it as well.
A Movable Feast, my all-time favorite fave. Not sure what that one was. Neil says, have you thought about making a video on your channel about the programs and apps that you use for your writing? I should do that. Of course, everybody here
I
knows what I use, so.
would, yeah, I feel like I should because well, with my current project, the world is a bit bigger.
Mhm.
So I'm actually jumping between Scrivener and I love Notion to just plan my life in general.
Mhm.
So I have templates set up for my works in progresses as well. And then I've also been using OneNote to just write random notes as well. So it's kind of spread across different platforms, but I don't know, it's kind of working. It's like an organized chaos. And but yeah, I definitely want to make I really like YouTube and I want to focus on it a little bit more. Sometimes it's just like I'll start filming and I'm like, I'm not feeling this video, so I'll just crash
Oh,
it. But
I've done that so many times.
yeah.
Or there was one time I recorded 30 minutes worth of video and did the
Yeah.
whole tutorial and all that. I put the mic down, I shut off OBS because that's what I used to record, and I realized my mic was muted the whole time. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, seriously? So I had to redo the
Yeah.
whole thing. Oh, I was so mad. That means I had to uninstall because it was a WordPress tutorial. So I had to
Mm.
uninstall all the plugins I just showed everybody how to
Oh
use.
God. Yeah.
Sucks the life out of it, just a hair.
Oh yeah. definitely.
Marissa says, I was just about to suggest Incarnate. I love Incarnate. It's
Yeah.
I'm putting together a list of fantasy map makers, and I came across Incarnate first, and I fell in
Mhm.
love with it. It has so many cool tools to it. So I'm like, this is definitely worth $25 a year.
For sure, yeah.
Katie C says, I like how she used the term organized chaos. Michael uses the words chaos a lot. My life is
Yeah.
chaos.
Oh, yeah.
It's always chaotic. Okay, so you are a self-published indie author. What was the
Mhm.
hardest part for you about getting this Cruel Fate published?
I think the hardest part, I probably stressed most about the cover, honestly. I was having like mental breakdowns because I spent my entire budget on the editor.
Mm.
And so I was like, I don't know what to do. And I had such a specific vision. I ended up doing it myself and had my younger sibling do the moths for it. Um,
I think it looks
on
nice. So
Thank you. Yeah, it was. Could I make some adjustments? Yes, but I'm never going to open up Adobe Illustrator again in my life. It was so stressful. Because at least like everything else, I was like, okay, I have an editor, I have Vellum for formatting. Because at first, when I was exploring the indie or self-publishing route, because at first I was going to query it, but working with my editor, she's like, not to discourage you, but it could be a hard commercial sell. And I was like, well, I don't want to change it, so I'll just do it myself. I had this grand plan of like, I'm going to format it in Adobe and make it look all pretty, and I'm going to do this and this. And then, yeah, I was like, I think Vellum is a much better option, much less painless. So yeah, the cover was probably the most stressful thing, because I don't know, I was like scrolling through Instagram accounts that did like pre-made covers and trying, yeah. But we got it, and I'm like, yeah, I'm happy with it, and
yeah. Well,
always change it in the future. And
I
yeah,
think I think it came out nice, and there's nothing wrong with changing the cover in the future. The Stand, Stephen King's The
yeah,
Stand has had like 7 different covers throughout the years. So,
yeah.
um, Neil asks, what are your plans for your blog on Substack? So are you asking for 2 different things there, Neil, or what? Either one. Do you have plans for your blog, and do you have
Yeah.
plans for your Substack?
For my Substack, I just use that as a newsletter service. I just like how easy it is to use. When it comes to admin things, I'm like, the easier something is to use, that's that's what I'm going for. And that it does have a little bit more discoverability than going through like MailChimp
Yeah,
or MailerLite, something like that.
and it gets
And then
called by
for
Google.
my Yeah, and then for my blog on my site, I would love to do, since I don't really do like video essays on my channel, I do more like blogging and writing challenges. I would love to do more like essay style things about different thoughts that I have about like, I don't know, just about writing and reading and just kind of, yeah, exploring that. Like I have a few ideas and some blogs drafted, but they definitely need finding and editing before they go out anywhere. But yeah, that's the plan.
Yeah.
Just to, yeah.
I'm not sure if I have the link to it. It might be on the blog post on WriterSanctuary, but if you want to check out her Goodreads, you've got 280 books on it. That was a big
Most of them are
list.
probably on the TBR. Yeah, I do use Goodreads to kind of keep track of everything. Since it was, before I was published, I used it just as like a reader,
Mm.
uh, and I posted all my reviews. But I've started removing some of the like 1 stars and stuff. I don't want anyone to say I'm trying to like tear them authors or anything. But
Yeah.
I'm not getting canceled. Having opinion.
There you go.
So
I
yeah.
mean, you just be more like me. I just don't give a shit. So, People are gonna like my book. They're not
Yeah,
gonna like my
the
book. I don't
drama's
care.
crazy, right? Yeah, I don't think they were bad because I wasn't like this book is garbage. I was explaining why I didn't like them, but
Oh, yeah.
I don't want the heat.
Was it you that posted that on Threads? Somebody did recently about how they left a 2-star, and they were like explaining how why. And I guess the author took offense and went back and 1-starred all of her books on Goodreads.
Oh my god,
I'm like,
I did not see that.
what a douche! Take the
Yeah,
take the
no,
hit and move
I
on,
think
man.
like with putting art out there, you have to. It's impossible, like statistically impossible, that everyone will like what you do. And
Oh yeah,
I had talked about this in one of my videos where it's like, is you have to be happy with what you make because that external validation, it might come, it might not, but there's going to be someone that absolutely hates what
oh
you
yeah,
do, no matter how hard you try. So it's like, just have to be like, that's fine, like
yeah.
that was your experience with it, and that's valid.
That's the one of the biggest things I push on this channel. Actually, is that you're not going to please 100% of the people 100% of the time. Some
Yeah.
people are going to hate for the sake of hating. So
Oh
you
yeah.
gotta have a thick skin.
Oh yeah. I mean, all of my marketing, I've tried to keep it very much like Oli is not a likable character. This is like a hero corruption arc. Like all of my marketing. And I was nosy and looked at my Goodreads, which I shouldn't have done. But someone was like, she thinks she's better than everyone. 2 stars. And it's like, that's valid. That was their experience. But I'm just like, but that's what I said you were gonna get.
Hey, so Neo just said that she sees 3 books on Goodreads under your name. The Scroll
Yeah.
Fate, the Red Brick Building, and Hole. Are those yours?
Yeah. Those were very early, like back when KDP was still Create Space, and I was just like putting stuff up there. So that's my internet footprint. I wish I could erase, but I've scrubbed the manuscripts from the internet, so you can't find those. But yeah, unfortunately, they're attached to my Goodreads still.
Hey, you had 5-star average rating on both of them.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, I guess I got that going for me. But yeah, those were younger me. Didn't
Well,
understand like the whole process and
I've
everything.
I've got I got some stories in Wattpad that I wrote back in
Mm,
2016 that I'm in the process of rewriting because I've come a long way since then. So
yeah,
it's kind of
yeah.
cringy. I don't want people to read it, but it's there.
Right, like, please don't perceive this. Only show what I'm showing you. Don't go digging. Yeah.
But someone brought up, I think it might have been Marissa brought something up, is that looking back, it's kind of a cool reminder to see just how far I've come um,
Oh
over
yeah,
this
for
last eight
sure.
years because reading the short stories there, because I've got Predator and Prey and Begin the End and Despair. Despair is actually is the audiobook that I'm writing for YouTube.
Hmm.
And then 7 is my story that I really want to finish. It's pretty much horror. But
Yeah.
so I'm rewriting 7, and before each chapter, I put an image in Wattpad to specify that this one has been remastered. So each chapter is getting that as I go.
Yes.
It's cringy.
Yeah. 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 But I looking back and seeing the cringiness of it, that's how you know you're growing and getting better. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Let's see. Damn, Marissa. Damn, Neo digging up the old stuff.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
really.
Neo will dig deep. She is awesome. So you can't hide anything from Neo. Marissa says, "Yes, that was me." Yeah, I thought so. I like seeing that I've definitely grown as a writer, and my fan fictions from 2010 prove that. Yeah.
Yes.
Um. So yeah, because we were talking about your the fanfic of World of Warcraft, and that's why I said yeah, because when you
Yeah.
look back at that stuff, you're like, oh, this is
Yeah.
getting fixed.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, it is what it is. Um, stop bringing that up. So if anybody, I got the link. So no, I'm not gonna throw Marissa under the bus, but I have the link. see. If there was one lesson that you've learned while writing that you would share with others, what would it be?
I definitely think to grow as a writer, you need to have like a bit of an ego death. Uh, like A, just putting your stuff out there is scary, but B, you need to listen to constructive criticism and have like
Mm,
trusted people that can help you improve your writing. But I think it's hard. I went through this, when I was younger, and then seeing other newer authors go through this where they're so attached to some element or, X, Y, and Z. And it's like, if it's not working, it doesn't mean you're a bad writer. It just means you need to adapt and change. So I definitely think like have an ego death because that's the only way to get better. And just always keep learning and like don't give up that, yeah, that like eagerness to see how you can word something better, or instead of making your character act this way, have them act this way. And yeah, just stay a student.
yeah. Never give up, never surrender.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, yeah, I could definitely side with that. Not to read too much into criticism. I know a lot of people that take any
Hmm.
piece of criticism as an attack. A lot of times it's
Yeah.
not. And
Right.
if you listen to how some people are critiquing, there's a big difference between being
Hmm.
a critic and being a troll. And
Yeah.
a critic will actually work to help you get better in their perspective. Now, you don't always have to take
Right.
everything a critic says, but
Right.
some of them will guide you down a good path. So,
Yeah. Yeah. And that's why I love like alpha reading and beta reading for people.
mm,
And I'll never comment anything that isn't like actionable because it's like some stuff just isn't helpful, or some stuff is just like whatever. Um, but knowing or seeing someone else's perspective helped me so much with this full fate, like just from critique partners, editor, just seeing how something comes across in someone else's eyes because I have all the context, I know
mm,
what I'm trying to go for, but if that's not coming across to someone who has zero context, then that's something I need to work on. And yeah, criticism for your artwork is never or rare, shouldn't be ever a criticism against like your personal character
yeah,
or anything like that. And like separating yourself from your art, I think is really important.
yeah. It's like I got a 2-star review on Kingmaker from a professional reviewer. I paid for the service because I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to review it. It's what
Oh yeah.
shit that I do for content. But after reading the review, like nobody here believed the guy read the book because
Yeah.
he was just making sense. It's like you didn't get past
Yeah.
chapter 1, did you? You bastard.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah. And even if like it is what it is, it is what it is.
let's see. Neo says if I can bring up stuff from her college years, then I would say that I am that good, Marissa. Because we were talking about digging stuff up.
Yeah.
Neo also says there is no ageism in writing compared to actors in Hollywood. That I would have to agree with. My mom
Yeah,
didn't.
for sure.
My mom published her first book. I think she was 54,
Mm-hmm.
56. It was pretty late. Mine didn't get published until I was 41.
Yeah.
So,
I
like
also
everybody,
think,
yeah. So there's people on threads will say like, "How old is too old?" There is
oh, he's not
such a thing. Yeah.
right. Yeah. No, I think that's so true. And it, me, right? I'm 26. Um, and the life experience I have now than when I was writing in high school is so much different. And I hope in like 10 and 20 years, I'm like that 26-year-old knew nothing and her books like reflect, what she knew at the time. And
Mhm.
I'm writing something completely different then. Um, And yeah, I mean, I loved the Aragon books when they came out, and I recently tried to reread them, and I was like, you can tell Christopher Paolini wrote Aragon when he was a teenager because it just reads like that, and then reading his recent work has improved. So yeah, I mean, I think having life experience under your belt definitely helps inform your writing as well.
Oh yeah. Uh, Sam, dead is too old. We'd have to chalk that up
Just a
to
little
no
bit.
shit. Thank you very much, Captain Obvious. My jaw's on the floor. Yeah, I'm kind of a bad influence on some people. Um, Alrighty. Well, it is 8 o'clock. Does anybody have any questions, comments, concerns before we call this a night? Thank you very much for joining us,
Yes,
Maddie.
thank you.
It was really cool. I'm looking forward. Don't forget that Maddie will be joining me as well as most of the authors in the interviews the last
Yes,
couple of months at Read Between the Stars, October 20th in Lakewood, Colorado at noon to 4, if I remember right.
very
And
exciting.
it is a free event, and so you can meet us all in person. That's gonna be fun. I'm excited.
Yes. Yeah,
So we're
be really
all
exciting.
like, I'm a newbie, you're a newbie. Ian does like
Hmm.
12 a year, so maybe we
Oh
just ought
wow,
to we'll just hit up Ian and see what he does.
right.
I'm listening to Aragon and felt the same way. Yeah, thank you for joining. This was fun from Marissa. Alrighty. Well, thank you very much for joining us.
Yeah,
Don't
thanks for
forget
having
that
me.
Maddie's blog, the link to her blog, and her book is in the description down below, as well as your Instagram, if I remember right. I didn't know you had a TikTok, so if I would have saw that, I would have put it up.
And I haven't like advertised it really because it's like, it is what it is.
Ah,
I'm new to
but I
using it.
did, but I did link to her YouTube channel, as did Neo 4
Oh yeah.
times. So she has a YouTube channel. You can join that. Yeah. Okay. I guess we are good to go. Thank you very much. And next time, when you get ready to publish another book, let me know. We'll have you on the show again.
Sounds good. Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. Have a good evening.
You as well.
Okay. Bye bye.
Bye.
So that was a lot of fun. It was really hard to find. Like, I tried to make all the questions tailored to each author, but with her being so new, there wasn't a lot of information.
Powering off.
So I tried to make it fun. But that was really neat. I can't wait to meet her in person. The same with everybody else. Marissa and Ian and Drea is going to be on 2 weeks from tonight, and we're all going to be at Read Between the Stars. So if anybody's in the Denver metro area on October 20th, come to a free event and meet us in person. Headset sounds sexy as usual, right? It's the Corsair chick. Okay, we're going to do our card for the week. Angelina Serini. Hello, I have a question for you. I might have an answer. Unfortunately, Maddie left, so I don't know, we could probably get a question to her later on. Or I would like to do a live stream from Read Between the Stars, so we might be able to do that on Sunday. So if you like Star Wars, do you think Keanu Reeves would play a great Darth Revan from Knights of the Old Republic? Oh, Knights of the Old Republic. Keanu Reeves. Oh, you know what? I bet he would. Based on like John Wick. Probably nobody here but you and I know that game. As Darth Revan, I think he would. Yeah, I think it'd be a decent fit. I never really thought about that. Thank you very much, Angelina. That's gonna stick with me now. um, yeah, that's who would play with Bastia? I was gonna say younger Kate Beckinsale. That'd be. I have a thing for Kate Beckinsale, so we'll put her in everything. In fact, Kate Beckinsale, her character in Van Helsing, is the model of Elizabeth in my next book. By the way, the guy who voiced her, I know, I'm so sad. Rip to James James Earl Jones, one of my favorite actors and favorite voice actors. I've been a big fan of James Earl Jones forever. So when I saw that, it was like, oh, it kind of broke my heart a bit. But I don't think there's a single movie he was in that I didn't like. The man had presence, no matter what he was in. He died at 93, so he had a long run. So, but yeah, that was really sad. I don't like seeing my favorites die. Like um, Betty White was one that crushed me because she was so close to hitting 100. I love Betty White. Yeah. Um, Rest in peace to James Earl Jones. In fact, my Halloween. Well, I'm not going to talk about it because it's a special. The question Michael was not expecting. Well, right? I mean, that was like off the wall. Thank you very much, Angelina. I love questions like that. I had to look on 3 sites just to make sure it was true. Rest in peace. Yeah, I Googled it and went through all kinds of different websites. I'm like, really? Still think you would be great friends with my professor. His name is Mel Odom. You should look him up. You guys have so much in common. Is that the one that also writes cinematically? No. It was the attitude, right? I can't remember. But I know you brought up some things. I remember that we have a connection. I just can't remember what happens when you're 48. You just did that too. Yeah, I Googled it. Yeah, it was like it was on Philip DeFranco's video I was watching today. And I was scrolling through looking at the chat or the comments, and somebody said Rip James Earl Jones. I'm like, what? Because Philip DeFranco wasn't talking about it. So I'm like, took to Google immediately. Sure enough. It's like, man, losing so many grades. But like I said, 93, that's a hell of a lot older than most people get. So yeah, a good run. He's published about 40 books, I think. Fantasy, sci-fi, action, horror, etc. Huh? Cool. Well, I'll definitely look him up, just out of curiosity. Mel Odom. Odom. 93 is a good life. Yeah. I doubt I'll hit 93. The rate I'm going, I doubt I'll hit 55. But you guys have the same personality and humor. Oh, cool. Awesome. I don't know. I'm kind of unique. It's not acquired taste. Anyway, let's do our card. Last week was I will not look back, only forward. I did post this on the community tab, right? I can't remember if I did or not. I'm pretty sure I did. So we're going to put this one here. Okay. Zoop. Next, this week's card, our daily affirmation. Get here. Alrighty. Our card this week is I'm getting stronger every day. Well, I went to the gym this morning. Does that count? Beastie. Stronger, wiser. I think it just comes with age. But I'm getting stronger every day. I'm trying to think of what that would mean to me. By the time I post this on the community tab, I probably will have something to go with it. Oh, but anywho, don't forget that Maddi Bluhme's information is in the video's description. Her blog, link to the YouTube channel, her book, The Scroll Fate, and I think her Instagram, if I remember right. Like I said, I didn't know she had TikTok. I rarely use mine. So, alrighty. Well, I think, does anybody have any questions for me before we call it a night? I can do my outro and say goodnight to everybody. You quit licking me, damn it. She left me alone for most of the night. Yeah. So, don't forget that Maddie, Marissa, Ian, Drea and more will be at Read Between the Stars at D3 Arts in Lakewood, Colorado on October 20th. It's a free event, so if you're in the Denver metro area, feel free to stop by and meet us in person. I might even sign a book for you. This week our daily information is I will not look back, only forward. That's the one. Yeah, we were off on Labor Day. That's right. That's right. We didn't have one last week. So this week is I'm getting stronger every day. I've never been to Colorado. I've never been to Ohio. I've never been to a lot of eastern states, actually. Was Arkansas the furthest east I've ever been? Actually, let's see. I've been in Nebraska, Kansas. Yeah, I haven't been to Louisiana, Georgia, Florida, any of the Carolinas. I haven't been to North or South Dakota, Michigan, Indianapolis. Yep, Minnesota. There's a lot of places I haven't been. I love Colorado. I love Estes Park. I love Lookout Mountain. Diana is in Ohio. I don't know. Oklahoma. Unpaid virtual assistant who works once in a while. Did I miss something? Oh, you? Does that mean you are my virtual assistant who works once in a while and you're unpaid? I swear, if I had the money, I would so pay you to run my shit because you're on the ball. So you don't mind my question? Oh, Angelina, absolutely not. I love randomness. I'm I'm an open book essentially. So yeah, feel free to ask all kinds of weird crap. I'll probably answer it. No, but that's a good question though. I would definitely like to. The Keanu Reeves playing Darth Revan would be if anybody plays Knights of the Old Republic, it's a great storyline. You were born in Tulsa? Sorry. I was born in Ogden. That's not much better. In the amazing state of Ohio. Ohio. It's a great central location, I suppose. I don't know about great. It's central. So, is that a dog? Nope. This one's a cat. This is Shadow. She's I'm her co-host. This is her channel. She's in almost every video. This is Shadow. And then I also have an orange cat, Sabia. The black cat is Max. She was on my lap for a second a little bit earlier. Then we have my daughter's dog, Banana Bread. So yeah. Oh, like Shadow from Sonic the Hedgehog. Just Shadow. She won't leave me alone. So she's connected to me at all times. I strongly prefer the cats to the dog. I gotta be honest. I don't know. Nana Bread is cute, but God, she's a pain in the ass. My cats, on the other hand, are cute and pains in the asses. So everybody's just a pain in the ass. Yeah. Our dog is outside right now, so is Sabia. Yeah, I can hear her barking. The state is so great that everywhere you look, there's memes about it. Yeah, and they're all positive. I better slow down. I want to piss off my Ohio demographic. I've already alienated Arkansas and Alabama. I just spilled tea all over me because the tea bag slid down my throat. Anyway, I'm sober. Poor Nanners. A sweet home Alabama. I live in a trailer. There's so many memes about Alabama. Oh, yeah. I am a walking Alabama meme. Alabama and Arkansas. I don't think I've talked shit about any other state more than those two. Look at it. Anywho, it is 8:15. I think I will wrap this up. Don't forget that um, that we will be at Read Between the Stars on October 20th. It's a Sunday. It's a free event in Lakewood, Colorado at D3 Arts. And we'll all be there in person to sign autographs and hang out. I'm excited to meet everybody in person, to be honest. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, you can always hit me up on social media on Instagram, Threads, Twitter. I respond to Twitter. I'm not active, but if I get a message, I'll respond. Same with Facebook, but it takes forever for Facebook to actually send me a notification that somebody asked me something. So the odds of me answering on Facebook are slim to none. YouTube, Instagram, and Threads are probably the quickest way that I'll respond because I get those notifications immediately, especially with the YouTube channel. I'll answer all kinds of stuff in the middle of the day. So, or you can use the contact form on WriterSanctuary.com's website. If you are an author with a book published and you'd like to be on the show, I also have a contact form specifically for authors on WriterSanctuary.com. And you can go there and fill out the information, and I'll get back in touch with you. Freelancer's Tale and Kingmaker, both of my books, are available on Amazon in paperback, ebook formats. Kingmaker actually has a hardcover. And I am almost done in publishing Shadows of Atlantic City. I'm so excited. And Sam and I will be on Crossing Colorado tomorrow night. Join us there for the Fitness and Theory podcast. Angelina, I don't know enough about Star Wars or anything associated to answer that question. Yeah, Angelina, there's not very many people here who have probably played Knights of the Old Republic. I did when it first came out, and I also beat the second one. The second one wasn't too bad. I love the first one. Knights of the Old Republic was awesome. The second one was kind of, I don't know. It was all right. I like the first one better. I know a lot about Sonic the Hedgehog, if that helps. Look at y'all. Anywho, I'm going to call it a night. Thank you for watching. And don't forget that I will be back next Monday. Also, I do the writing sprints Monday through Friday at 10:30 a.m. Mountain Time. And I will be doing one tomorrow where I'm going to be, I don't know if I'm going to be wrapping up a few more edits for Shadows or if I'm going to be working on Fury. But either way, it's going to be good times because I got 2 books that are about to come out. So yeah, there we go. I'll see you guys next Monday. Have a good one. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for the question, Angelina. That was spot on. That's gonna be on my mind now. I'm gonna have to bring up that up to Ty, my son. My son's a big Keanu Reeves fan, so I think he'd like it. So, anyway, have a good one, and I will see you next time. Where's the button? There we go. Sometimes I lose my shit.